Well, hi once again, everybody. Welcome back into another edition of the 19th Hole podcast for golfers, just as this says. I'm your host, Dennis Overs. Glad to have you with us today. We've got a very, very good show because we have a very, very good guest, a gentleman that's on the inside of what's going on with both the PGA Tour, the LIV Tour, a lot of other stuff. He's been on before. We love having him back on because he's very forthright, has a lot of information, and you're going to enjoy him. Larry Klayman is an attorney at law, and he is a former United States Justice Department prosecutor. Larry founded both Judicial Watch and Freedom Watch. I'm sure a couple of publications that a lot of you out there are familiar with. He is known for his strong public interest advocacy in furtherance of ethics, especially in government. He has been involved in several very, very high-profile lawsuits, if you will, litigation, which we won't go into now because we got too many other things to cover. But right now, it's my pleasure to welcome Larry Klayman, my friend, onto the show. And Larry, let me just start off and ask you a question outside of what we're going to talk about.
Sure.
Because you are a lawyer, do you think there will ever be, or can there be, equal justice again in this country? And if not, why so?
Well, I think there can be in this country, but not with our current government, to be blunt. What we have, and I run Freedom Watch, as you know, freedomwatchusa.org. We have a third Continental Congress that met in Philadelphia a few years ago, and we are debating, and we're going to vote on that shortly, whether to declare independence. I personally believe, Dennis, we need a new government, not a new nation. And you can see just how corrupt this government has become, particularly my former alma mater, my once proud alma mater, the U.S. Department of Justice. It's behaving more like a Gestapo than an entity that represents the American people. And without a system of justice that is equal, Lady Justice is supposed to be blind, the American people are being kept down. We can't even dissent anymore without having the FBI pay you a visit.
Yeah.
And visit is the minor thing. Look at the January 6th protesters. Most of them are peaceful. I represent many of them in two class actions. And they are being forced into confessions to get down on their knees, even when they're simply charged with a trespass. When it's not even really a trespass, it's our capital. They're being given prison terms. And of course, their reputations and their lives are being ruined. Because they protested what they thought was a fraudulent election. And frankly, they were protesting the rank corruption in government.
Yeah. It's just amazing. You look at the FBI, even the CIA, what has happened with those two organizations, and people just shake their heads and you know what's going on, and it's just horrible. Anyway, you were at the forefront of what's going on between the PGA Tour and the LIV Tour. All sorts of speculation going on, Larry, as far as an agreement between the two tours. What can you tell us? Because you're in the middle of it.
Well, I'm speaking personally here. You know, I represent a professional golfer in his personal capacity. I have a lawsuit in Palm Beach, Florida, which I brought as a Florida golf fan. That's my home. With regard to the PGA Tour, the DP World Tour, that's the European Tour, the official Golf World Ranking, OWGR, and Golf Channel, where I allege that there is a concerted effort to compete anti-competitively to have eliminated LIV as a competitor. And that case is moving forward. It has not been dismissed. It's not been widely reported upon recently. So I'm speaking from that perspective. I'm not speaking as a lawyer for LIV. However, here's what I think happened. is I think that both sides did not want to proceed with discovery. There were a lot of reasons that neither side wanted to open up all their books and records, publicly. And they came up with a face-saving gesture to dismiss the lawsuit that had been brought by LIV with a counterclaim by the PGA Tour in California. I do not think that the framework agreement as proposed could have ever gotten through the antitrust authorities at the Department of Justice. I'm a former alumnus of the antitrust division. I helped break up AT&T. It would have created a near 100% monopoly, and there were other problems with it as well. Do I think that perhaps LIV and the PGA Tour have a chance of coming up with an alternative agreement that may be acceptable? Yes, I do. I think it's possible. I think that in the end, and this is just a prediction, you'll find that LIV continues to exist, that the PGA Tour continues to exist as it was, and they'll come up with some way that players can go back and forth between the tours to compete in various tournaments.
Yeah.
But I don't see what was proposed ever to be, frankly, viable. However, there's other kicker here, Dennis. The PGA Tour, which is run by people who, how should I describe it, are say less than honest, including Monahan. Jay Monahan, I have him as a defendant in our case in Florida, did their best to defame and disparage LIV players, calling them acceptors of blood money,
Right.
cavorters with terrorists, murderers, you name it. They were forced to withdraw all of that when, of course, they wanted the Saudi investment. So we saw how phony that was. But they have been lately doing a lot of different things to try to harm the LIV players, including my client. And you've got continued fines by Keith Pelley of the DP World Tour, continued suspensions. You've got statements that they're going out to try to find other investors, in effect going behind the back of the Saudi Public Investment Fund with alternatives. You've got statements that LIV players are not going to be able to play in the President's Cup. They're continually banned for that. And just today it came out that the four majors have said we're not going to have special exemptions for LIV players. Now, my client Patrick, of course, has a lifetime exemption on the Masters, but it affects everything else. So it looks to me like the PGA Tour is doing its best, colluding with these other entities, the DP World Tour, the OWGR, and Golf Channel, for that matter, to do a number on what could have been a potential agreement. But we'll see what comes out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it is not promising, given the way the PGA Tour and its co-defendants, in our case, have been acting. I have a hearing next Tuesday on the case to push the judge to move forward on this case. And by the way, Rory McIlroy and Tiger Woods and Davis Love III went screaming like stuck pigs, okay, when I noticed their deposition. They opposed it. The judge said, no, it's legitimate. We have to take that deposition. They've been in on the ground floor of anti-competitive conduct against LIV and its players. They went up to the appellate court in Florida. They lost there. And they told the judges there, oh, we're too important. We're too famous to be deposed. And obviously, the judges felt otherwise. So they will be deposed shortly. That means oral testimony.
I want to be a fly on the wall when you do that. Boy, I'd give anything to be in that room. And I think, Larry, because of what they're trying to do with, they don't want them in majors, world ranking points. I think these organizations are cutting their nose to spite their face. People want to see a lot of these players playing in these major championships because they're great players, they're competitive, they're well known, they sell tickets. I just don't get it, and I don't get how Monahan has kept his job for as long as he has.
Well, I think his longevity may be as long as Bibi Netanyahu with Israel, with what's going on right now, having dropped the ball over there. I don't want to put that politic into this discussion, but but he's on his way out. And the fact is that, see, I'm wearing a hat from the European Ryder Cup team. Okay. First of all, the irony is that most of the European Ryder Cup players are actually, in effect, Americans. They live in Jupiter, Florida, or they live in Arizona, or they live in California,
Yeah.
or they live in Texas. But number two, and I've got to say this, and I'm a very proud American, I actually was rooting for the Europeans. Not only were their players, I think, better, frankly, than what the Americans put up, and that was because, except for Brooks Koepka, the live players were excluded. Patrick was excluded. Bryson DeChambeau was excluded.
Yep.
Others were excluded. And they shot themselves in the foot. And, of course, we see the result. They were routed at
Right.
the Ryder Cup. It was a huge embarrassment,
Right.
not just to the players that went there, but also to Zach Johnson, who, frankly, could have done a better job, as the team captain.
Yeah.
But it was a disgrace that the live players were kept out. And if you look at the live players, okay, you've got, I think, at least 11 of them that before they stopped giving world ranking points were in the top 20 players in the world, including my client, who I'm very proud of, Patrick, is that per capita, live has better players than the PGA Tour, given the number of players on both tours.
Yeah. Yeah. And they keep saying, and you would know this, Larry, that according to some players that will give interviews, there is a line, if you will, of PGA Tour players that want to go over to live for one reason or another. And, they had their last tournament, the team championship, as you know, in Miami. Certain players that didn't make the cut, so to speak, were let go. They need new blood, so to speak. They need new players. And I don't think they're going to have a problem with
Not at
PGA
all.
Tour players wanting to go, wanting to sign up.
No, I've been obviously to a number of tournaments. I was in Saudi Arabia recently there, and I went right after everything broke out in Israel, and I found the Saudis to be extremely warm and forthcoming. Nobody was looking at anyone sideways. They are a tremendous force in the world economy. That area, Jeddah, for instance, is just booming. A new Lucent plant, new Hyundai plant that's being built.
Yeah.
That being said, is that Saudi investment has made this into a great tour, just as their investment in many American companies have in the LPGA Tour. And if you go to a live tournament, it's fun. There's music. The players are not distracted.
Right, right.
Team competition. There's a tremendous camaraderie. These players really love each other. I mean, not just because they get along extremely well, and a lot of them, have very interesting personalities. I mean, the PGA Tour, most of the players are like drones these days. I mean, they have no personality.
You're right.
I mean, I like Scotty Scheffler, but I mean, he's got the personality of a piece of wood. You know? So this is what you're dealing with as a very unique product that can exist side by side and is complementary to the PGA Tour. It's not a threat to the PGA Tour. And these players are independent contractors. They should be allowed to play on all the tours and not discriminated against,
Right.
and not disparaged, and not have their reputations destroyed, by calling them names and everything else. And they just want to play golf. And you will find, I believe, a number of very high-level PGA Tour players. And in fact, even the insipid Brandel Chambly has recently said, well, I'm concerned that John Rahm may go over to live. That is a possibility. That is John does not have a chip on his shoulder. I've met John. He's a very classy individual. And this is the kind of person that could potentially join live. And I'll tell you something, if he did, he wouldn't be excluded from the PGA Tour.
I don't think so. He's that popular, and like a lot of these guys are. But absolutely. Anyway, we're going to stop and take a short break. Our special guest, Larry Klayman, did a little commercial that I think you're going to enjoy. We're going to run that right now, and then be right back with you with more of the 19th Hole podcast.
Republicans want. He will not enforce the rule of law. No one will be held accountable. He will not be held accountable for the bribery from communist China, from Russia and Ukraine. We at Freedom Watch must do this. We are your Justice Department. Go to freedomwatchusa.org. Support our cause. We are currently trying Joe Biden for bribery and negligent homicide and others. We need your help. Please contribute to Freedom Watch at freedomwatchusa.org. And please get my book, It Takes a Counter-Revolution, Wake Up America, that you can also get there. God bless you and your family. God save America.
One of the perks about being in golf media is that I get to try every club ever made. Of course, like most things, some are better than others. I'm here to tell you that I have found unquestionably the absolute best performing set of irons I have ever played, and my scores show it. Let me introduce you to Grindworks, custom fitted irons that are made to fit your game. Grindworks offers players 3 different styles of irons. You can choose muscleback irons, cavity back irons, and even blades, along with some awesome wedges. And when you purchase your clubs, Grindworks lets you choose the type of shaft you want, the type grip you prefer, and even will adjust the loft and lie of your clubs if needed. That's unheard of. So what are you waiting for? Feel the power and experience and performance of these amazing clubs. Simply go to grindworksusa.com or call 281-651-4046 to order. Trust me, your handicap will love you for it. Welcome back, everybody, to more of the show with our special guest, Larry Klayman. And I'm telling you, if you get those Grindwork irons, you put it with that 0-2 golf ball from Encore Golf, you'll hit golf shots like you never hit before. It's just a fabulous, fabulous combination. Speaking of Grindworks, that company is operated by great guy, Patrick Reed, and you represent Patrick in some litigation. What can you tell us about that?
Well, let me just add to your recommendation of Grindworks. I have a set myself, and I got to tell you, they are the best clubs that I've ever had. They are softer than Miura and Mizuno combined, and they were designed by Patrick.
Yeah.
He designed them to his specs, and you'll see the result of it goes through the turf very, very easily. But the litigation with Patrick Reed. Patrick is a super fine person. So is his wife Justine and the entire family. And the fake news golf media, going back quite a ways, picked him out to become the whipping boy for clicks and profits. You know, they always have to have somebody. And I would say that the golf media, by and large, not you, Dennis, and not a few others, but it's as bad as the political fake news media in many ways, because most of them are beholden to the PGA Tour,
right?
To get interviews, you know, to
Right.
get free tickets, to do this and that. They're essentially
100%.
bribed by the PGA Tour. And, you know, they have called Patrick all kinds of names. He's never been found once to have cheated, never once. He was called a taker of blood money, a murderer, everything else. He was implicated in things which were alleged to be nefarious, which he was never even involved in. And we brought a lawsuit. There were 45 defamatory statements, and it went in front of a judge who turned out to be very biased and prejudiced. And he dismissed all 55 of the defamatory statements, which is impossible. They should have been given to a jury. He took it upon himself to rule. Early on, we did a little research, and we found out from his own questionnaire that he gave to the U.S. Senate when he was up for confirmation, this is a federal judge, that he had been a member of the Ponte Vedra Inn and Club, which is the same club where Monahan and all the PGA Tour brass are also members. I don't know if he is still or not, but that may help explain the bias that came out in his ruling.
Yeah.
And I recently filed, and you can go to larryclayman.com and see it, a motion to set aside his judgment and also to have him recuse himself so another judge can take a look at what he did and reverse it. But there is absolutely no way that he could have dismissed all 55 defamatory statements. And among the defendants were Brandel Chambly, Eamon Lynch. I mean, very hateful people. You've got Shane Ryan, who wrote all kinds of defamatory stuff about Patrick, and others, I might add. And people should take a look at it because it's a testament as to how people, really mean people, just try to destroy you for profit.
Yeah, it amazes me, Larry, that these people would do that, and you ask them, how much FaceTime have you spent with Patrick Reed? How much time have you talked to the man? Do you know anything about him? And I'm sure the answer would be minimal. And it would be a thing like, gee, if you spent any time with the man, you'd really get to know who he is, and maybe you'd kind of cut back on the garbage, that you're writing. It's amazing.
No, that's absolutely right. And, we have them dead to rights once we get in front of a jury. I mean, there were false allegations about what happened at the University of Georgia. We have affidavits from the coaches that say it's false. He's never been found to have cheated one iota. And the things that he was accused of, Rory McIlroy has done 10 times over, whether it's a plug ball or anything else. But no one wants to touch Rory, of course.
Right.
But they've got to pick somebody out to harm. And I might say Patrick's a friend of Rory, and we mean Rory no harm. Okay, when I depose him, he'll be treated with respect, as well as Tiger Woods and Davis Love III and the others that I'll be deposing. But Patrick deserves to be treated just like the others are treated. And the fact is that he's a Masters champion, two-time Olympian, 9-time PGA Tour winner, Ryder Cup hero, Captain America, and a number of other successes. And he deserves to be treated with respect.
Absolutely. He's too good of a player to cheat. Why would he do that? If you're really good at what you do like he is, why would you even think of cheating? That's one thing. That's one thing I don't get. Let me just switch gears real quick. I was a little remiss at the opening of the show, Larry. I don't know if you know about this or not. 11-time tour winner Andy Bean just recently passed away at the age of 70. I met him, terrific guy, terrific player. Icon Betsy Rawls died at the age of 95, had a great life, winner of 8 golf majors. And Bart Bryant, I met both him and his brother, also passed away at age 59. So I don't know what's going on with tour players, with all of this. But anyway, we send our condolences to their family and friends and relatives and everything. And I know stuff happens, but it's still kind of shame.
Yeah.
I mentioned to you that I've had people ask me, well, where's Greg Norman and all of this stuff? He is still involved as the commissioner, Larry, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and I saw him in Miami last week. He's quite active, and he's done an excellent job. I mean, no one can refute that. And, I think people are jealous, as they are of Patrick, so they take a shot at Greg Norman, too.
Yeah.
But let me tell you about illness. You've been ill yourself, Dennis. We know that. I've been ill, as a matter of fact. I had pneumonia. There's something going around now. It's weird. And I think
Real
it may
weird.
be related. It's post-COVID or it's these vaccines, which little by little we're learning just how dangerous these vaccines are. to people.
Yeah, yeah. It's not fun. And you look like you're doing great. You're back to 100%. Hopefully you're
I'd say about
playing
80.
about it. Okay.
About 80%. Yeah, I mean, I've been traveling a lot. I went to
I know you
Saudi
have.
Arabia. That was, 13 hours up and back. I went to Miami all in a week and a half. So yesterday I went to sleep at 7:30 and slept for 10 hours.
Wow. Wow. How if you know, Larry, I don't mean to put you on the spot, how do the powers that be involved in Live figure out, for instance, their playing schedule for 2024?
I don't really have that information, but what I can tell you is I know what they've been announcing, and this is internal. And by the way, Live just hired uh, what is an excellent COO, okay, for
Right.
Live, which tells you that their intention is for Live to continue. This is a very special tour. I mean, like we said, it's very unique. So don't
Yeah.
expect Live to go away. It's not going to go away. But in 2024, I believe they have 8 tournaments outside of the United States and 4 inside the United States. And this is one of the special things about it, because they're bringing golf to different parts of the
The
world.
world, right.
Had it before, and it is growing the game. The PGA Tour and its clowns at Golf Channel mock that, but that's not true at all. And golf has become such a big part of the sports world. It is bringing people together. As for myself, because I spend a lot of my time fighting a corrupt government, it's a breath of fresh air when I can go out and play golf, or I can go to a Live tournament
Right.
and get my mind off of some of this stuff. And the same is true for many other people. In fact, there's been a study that golf prolongs your life, actually.
Really? Didn't
Whether
know
you
that.
walk, whether you walk or take a cart, that golfers are actually living longer than the average person.
I didn't know that. Interesting. Interesting. Well, I think with the exercise and, minus the aggravation and all that stuff that, that everybody gets, that's good. That's very, very, very good news. Uh, I think I mentioned to you, uh, unconfirmed, but I have a very good friend that is quite entrenched in the golf business. We spoke a couple of weeks ago, and again, I think I mentioned it to you, that there is a possibility, and I'm hoping like hell it's true, that they're going to play an event out here in Las Vegas around Super Bowl time.
That's what I read too. I would suspect that's going to happen. I
Yeah,
think that'll be great. I love Las Vegas. I represented the Bundys, by the way. You might
right.
remember
Yeah,
Cliven and his sons.
yeah,
And I was in Las Vegas for a period of time, I think 30 times in the course of
yeah,
a year and a half. And I found the people of Las Vegas, the working people, to be among the nicest people I've ever dealt with. And I also think Nevada's a very beautiful state,
yeah.
and I enjoy coming there. So, yes,
Yeah.
I believe Liv is going to have a tournament in Las Vegas.
That would be fantastic. That would just be fantastic. And he kind of speculated on, the possibility of the two courses they would play at. Both are terrific, but I really hope that's true. Get a chance to meet some of the players, and I got your room ready, by the way, and I got a great rate for you in my my guest room, so you're all set
Thank you, Dennis.
and stuff.
We'll
Yeah,
play golf when I'm out there too, I hope. I hope I have time.
totally.
I haven't had
Oh,
much time lately.
count on it. Count on it. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely correct. Well, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with both entities. Hopefully, get an agreement together soon and get all of this fuss out of the way and get down to, like you said, all these guys want to do is play golf. They want to win tournaments. That's it.
Yeah, there's a song, All I Want to Do Is Have Some Fun, on
Right.
Santa Monica Avenue. So
Right.
all I want to do is have some fun by playing live and also being able to play the PGA Tour and the DP World Tour. But it's
Yeah.
like anything else. Monopolists hate to give up even a little portion of their monopoly.
Yeah.
And that's what we've seen. And, years ago, let me tell you this interesting story because I'm an international trade lawyer, among other things. And I represented the Italian wine industry, a number of vineyards there, when an international trade lawsuit was brought against Italian wine. This was in the 1980s, early
Hmm.
1980s. But the American winemakers feared the Italian wine. Well, at that time, the lira was very weak compared to the dollar. You could buy Italian wine for almost nothing. You could buy a top of the line bottle for $1.50. And anyway, we won this case in the preliminary uh, level at the International Trade Commission because we were able to show that introducing Italian wine into the market was actually expanding wine sales. It was creating greater appreciation to buy wine and to
Right.
drink wine. And
Right.
the same is true with Live, is that we'll expand the market if Live is allowed to compete, without anti-competitive acts trying to destroy it. So these people are very stupid. And I got to tell you something. The reason I brought this case in Palm Beach, and I brought it in my own name, a class action as a Florida golf
Right.
fan, under the theory that I should be allowed to see both sets of players from Live and PGA Tour compete
Yeah.
against each other at PGA tournaments and other tournaments, and that by inhibiting competition, the price of the tickets were rising and the concessions, and they surely have. But what really triggered me is that one day I turned on the Golf Channel and I saw Jay Monahan, and the guy was so arrogant and he was so belligerent and grimacing with hateful smiles. And I said, something's not right here. It's just not right. And as an ex-antitrust lawyer, actually even a current antitrust lawyer, which I am privately, I brought this case. And we got a very good judge in Palm Beach County, where I live and reside and where we have an office. And he allowed it to go forward. And it is the only case that's standing. Of course, the PGA Tour doesn't want to talk about it because it's a potential real Achilles heel. I didn't
Yeah.
bring it for the money. I brought it in the public interest
Yeah.
so golf fans could enjoy both
Yeah.
sets of players at whatever tournament they wanted to compete in.
Yeah. I again, I'll repeat, I think these people are cutting their nose to spite their face by not allowing some of the best players in the world into their event so golf fans can see them up close and personal, so to speak. And, the players would enjoy, playing in these events. And I just think it takes away from it,
Yeah.
especially from the majors.
Well, again, look at who Liv has, okay? In addition to Patrick, okay? And people love Patrick because he's a fighter, you see? He's won many times despite all the adversity, despite the fact
Right.
that people that come on these tournaments, some of them are drunk on the PGA Tour.
Right.
Some of them get physical. Can you imagine how many tournaments he would have won with all that, aggravation
Yeah.
removed?
Yeah.
But look at the characters, look at the personalities here. Bubba Watson, you've got Bryson DeChambeau, you've got Brooks Koepka, you've got DJ, you've got Pat Perez,
Right.
you've got Cam Smith, all very special personalities, okay? And yet, if you look at the PGA Tour player, they're like a bunch of drones. There's very few
agree.
players
agree.
there that have a personality that people can relate to.
I
So people
totally
should go to
agree,
see Liv.
Larry.
Yeah. So there's no reason why they shouldn't be able to compete with each other and profit by their own strengths, rather than to try to increase, any one tour's, hold
Totally
on the.
agree. You could see the difference in the interviews. You interview a live player, you interview a PGA Tour player. The live player kind of freewheels it. They're smiling, they're laughing, they're having a good time. Where the PGA Tour player is stiff and he's almost sounds like he's scripted. As far as his answer, and there's just a huge difference. By the way, how's your golf game when you get out and play?
I haven't played for a while, but but I did play a couple weeks ago before I went to Saudi Arabia. I think I figured out what I was doing wrong, but I have a bad back, so I'm always fighting against that. And I was scratched when I was 18, and I was scratched when I went to Duke. And then I scratched out because I picked up a box in court one day and herniated two discs.
Oh
So
boy.
I'm an 8.5 handicap now when I'm playing well,
Okay, well,
but
that's a good
I
player.
wasn't playing that well, and I hope maybe that I'll get it back if I ever have time again.
That's a good player. All right, Larry, hang in there. We're going to take a break and take another short break. We'll come back. We'll finish up the show with Larry Klayman. So stay with us. We are going to return right after this.
As golfers, we want instant gratification when it comes to a better golf swing and playing better golf. Impossible, you say? Not anymore. Golf Boost Artificial Intelligence (AI) has developed and patented the most advanced swing analysis technology in golf. Simply, the algorithms detect your body position and then analyze your golf swing using their artificial intelligence technology. The AI captures all the relevant data from your swing video and then presents you a personalized lesson. Golf Boost AI is the ultimate swing analysis and virtual instruction system for golfers of all ages and abilities. This sophisticated software takes into consideration your height and build, playing level, and returns the ideal solution for your swing. Bottom line, Golf Boost AI is an incredibly convenient and cost-effective tool for golfers to improve their swing. Go to golfboost.com and check it out. The app is free to download and try. Visit golfboost.com today.
Hi, I'm Dennis Overs, host of the 19th Hole Podcast for Golfers, and I'm here to tell you about some great wedges and putters from Grindworks USA. First, the Grindworks Barrett Collection Wedge Set. These wedges are unparalleled in today's market. The wedges come to you in 3 different lofts, 51, 57, and 61 degrees, all designed to be able to spin around the greens with the ability to hit high, middle, or low shots around the greens. Grindworks also makes a line of their Windsor Wells Precision Machine putters. This beautiful design of putter was not only created to be appealing to the eye, but to perform better on the greens. You will gain a ton of confidence to help lower your scores. Go to grindworksusa.com or call 281-651-4046. I promise your scores will love you for it. All right, welcome back, everybody. Yes, your scores will love you for it because they're terrific putters. Anyway, we're going to finish up with Larry Klayman. We only got a minute or two left for the show. Larry, if somebody wants to follow you, find out what you're doing or what's going on with your litigation, how do they do that? How do they keep up with you, so to speak?
Well, there are various websites. My personal website, my law firm, is LarryKlayman.com. Klayman, LarryKlayman.com. For Freedom Watch, freedomwatchusa.org. That's my public interest group where we're trying to fight government corruption. Also, there's another group that I formed with Sheriff Joe Arpaio, America's Sheriff. It's called americassheriff.org. You can go there and see what we're doing to try to promote and protect the police who are there to defend us. And you can send me an email at E as in Elliot, Larry Elliot Klayman, L.E. Klayman at gmail.com.
Okay.
And if you'd like to support, what we're doing with regard to our lawsuit in Palm Beach, and we need it because it's going to start to get really expensive once it goes into full swing, which it will shortly, that's freedomwatchusa.org.
Yeah. Well, we certainly are confident you're going to prevail because, again, Both Reeds are great people, and Patrick doesn't deserve this. And the people that are spreading this kind of nonsense deserve to be nailed and, hit over the head, so to speak. So we're confident on that.
People
Yeah.
are seeing that, Dennis, quickly. When the PGA Tour all of a sudden had an epiphany and figured out that they would like Saudi investment, they no longer were calling Patrick and the other players takers of blood money and terrorist sympathizers. They're garbage.
Right.
People like Randall Chambly kept doing it.
Yeah.
And once that decision by the judge is overturned, and I'm convinced it will be, you can expect that Randall will be held accountable. But it was very interesting, if you look at his Twitter page and on the website, after that occurred, people turned against Randall Chambly.
Yeah.
They said, we're tired of this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Why are you so hateful? Are you
Enough.
jealous? I mean, he's jealous because he was a third-rate PGA Tour pro.
Yeah. Enough's enough. You're absolutely right. I think that's where it stems from, and it's all gonna come out in the wash with you behind it, Larry. I am sure. Anyway, we'll let you go. Thank you so much, because I know you've got a
God bless
very
you.
busy schedule. Please give my best to Patrick, Justine, and obviously we're going to have you on again sooner than later to keep up with what's going on with this agreement and get everything settled. And we wish you well. And
I wish you well, Michael.
We'll be talking to you soon.
Yeah, get totally healthy, okay? We need Dennis Silvers, who's a great person.
I think I'm
Great
going
golfer.
in the right direction. Thank goodness. Yeah. It was something. It was something. It really was. As you know. Anyway, Larry, thank you so much again, and we'll
Take care,
see you
Michael.
soon. We'll see you soon. All right. So, on behalf of Larry Klayman, I'm Dennis Silvers. Thanks for watching this edition of the 19th Hole Podcast for Golfers. Keep it in the short stuff. Hope you get out, play some golf, and we will be back next week with one of the very top elite golf instructors in the country. So make sure that you tune in for that as well. Until that, so long, everybody. See you soon.